Major Frank Collins stood on the bridge of the USS Horizon, his eyes fixed on the strange readings on the main screen. The ship had been on a routine patrol at the edge of the solar system when their sensors picked up an odd energy signature that didn't match anything in their database. "What do you think it is, sir?" asked Lieutenant Jane Cooper, her fingers moving across the control panel. Frank rubbed his chin. He knew the rules. Protocol said to report the finding and wait for orders from headquarters. But something deep inside urged him to investigate. "Plot a course toward that signal, Lieutenant." "Sir, that would take us beyond our patrol zone," she reminded him. Frank nodded. "I'm aware, do it anyway." As the Horizon changed direction, Frank sent a brief message to Earth Command. "Investigating unknown energy signature. Will report findings." 6 hours later, the source of the signal came into view. It was a ship unlike any they had seen before, sleek with an iridescent hull that seemed to shift colors. Parts of it appeared damaged, with dark scorch marks along one side. "Life signs?" Frank asked. "One, sir," replied Officer Greg Martin from the science station. "Very faint." Frank made his decision quickly. "Prepare a rescue team. Full containment protocols." The away team returned 30 minutes later with a being that shocked everyone on the bridge. It stood just over 5 feet tall, with green-gray scaly skin and vertical pupils in large yellow eyes. The alien's breathing was labored, but it was conscious. "I am Zrek," the being said in perfect English to everyone's surprise. "I request asylum from the Arcturian Empire." Dr. Olivia Martinez, the ship's xenobiologist, approached carefully. "You're injured. I can help you if you'll allow me." The alien, Zrek, stared at Frank. "You are the commander?" "I am Major Frank Collins of Earth's United Space Administration." "Then I have information to trade for my safety," Zrek said. "Information about your children." Frank felt a chill run through him. "What about our children?" "The empire I escaped from, they have been taking them. For 15 years now." The bridge fell silent. Frank stepped closer. "Explain." Zrek seemed to gather his strength. "The Arcturian Empire spans hundreds of star systems. They discovered Earth decades ago and have been observing you. They found that human children possess unique neural pathways that make them valuable." "Valuable how?" Frank demanded, his voice hardening. "As slaves. As test subjects. Human children adapt quickly, learn fast, and can withstand conditions that other species cannot. The Empire has been quietly abducting them from isolated areas of your planet." Olivia stepped forward. "That's impossible. We would know if children were disappearing. Would you?" Zrek asked. "How many missing children cases go unsolved on your world each year? The Empire is careful. They take few from any one area. They make it look like accidents or runaways." Frank felt sick. "You expect us to believe this without proof?" "I have proof," Zrek said. "In my ship's data core, complete records of 3,218 human children currently in Imperial custody. Their origins, genetic profiles, assigned tasks, and locations within the Empire." Frank turned to Greg. "Get a team to secure that ship and download everything." For the next 12 hours, the crew worked to verify Zrek's claims. In the medical bay, Olivia treated the alien's wounds while questioning him about his species and why he had defected. "I was a data keeper at a processing facility," Zrek explained. "I saw what was happening to the children. My species has a strong parental instinct. What the Empire was doing, it felt wrong. When I learned they planned to expand the program, to take thousands more Earth children, I decided to act." Meanwhile, in the ship's lab, Greg and his team worked through the alien data. When Frank arrived for an update, Greg's face was pale. "It's true, sir," he said quietly. "All of it. We've matched 23 children in these records with actual missing persons cases from Earth. Same names, same DNA markers, same dates of disappearance. And we found this." He brought up an image on the screen that showed rows of small, transparent cells. Inside each was a human child connected to various tubes and monitoring devices. "This is a holding facility on something called Arcturus IV," Greg explained. "There are dozens more like it throughout their territory. Frank stared at the image, his hands clenching into fists. How many children total? Based on their records, at least 3,000, maybe more. Frank had been a soldier for 25 years. He had seen war and death, but nothing had prepared him for the cold rage he felt now. Set course for Earth, he ordered. Maximum speed, and prepare a complete report with all evidence. I want it ready by the time we reach home. The Horizon reached Earth 4 days later. By then, every crew member had seen the evidence, and all were changed by it. They had viewed videos of human children working in mines, being experimented on, and being trained to serve alien masters. Children who had been taken from their homes and families. At Earth Space Command headquarters in Geneva, Frank and his team presented their findings to the World Security Council, a body representing all Earth's nations. The room was silent as the evidence played on large screens. When it ended, General Susan Harris, head of the council, stood up. Her voice was steady, but tight with controlled fury. Major Collins, verify for the record. You believe this information to be accurate? Yes, General. My entire team has reviewed it. Dr. Martinez has confirmed the biological data. We've cross-referenced missing persons reports, and Zrek has passed every truth verification test we have. Susan nodded and looked around the room at representatives from every major nation. For the first time in human history, there was complete unity in their expressions. Then we are at war, she said simply. Not a war between our nations, but a war for our children. As of this moment, I am calling for a united Earth response. All military, scientific, and industrial resources will be directed toward one goal, bringing our children home. Frank stepped forward. General, request permission to lead the first contact mission. Susan shook her head. Denied, Major. You and your crew have done enough. We need you here helping us prepare. This won't be a quick fight. The enemy has technology far beyond ours, and territory we can barely imagine. With respect, they don't know what they've awakened, Frank replied. They think we're primitive, divided. They've never seen humans fight for their children. As the meeting continued into the night, emergency broadcasts went out to every corner of the world. Within 24 hours, every human on Earth knew the truth. An alien empire had stolen their children, and Earth was going to get them back. In his quarters that night, Frank looked at a picture of his niece and nephew. They were safe, but thousands of other children weren't. He made a silent promise to them all. We're coming. Hold on just a little longer. We're coming. 6 months passed since the world learned the truth. 6 months of rage, grief, and most importantly, preparation. Countries that once pointed weapons at each other now worked side by side. Old enemies shared secrets and technology. The entire planet had one goal: to save the stolen children and make the Arcturian Empire pay. Admiral Diane Russell stood at the window of the newly built Space Command Center in Geneva. At 62, she had spent her life in the Navy, rising through the ranks during times of both war and peace. Now she commanded the greatest fleet humans had ever built. Admiral, they're ready for you, said her aide, Lieutenant Eric Shaw. Diane nodded and walked to the large conference room where 20 ship captains waited. These men and women would lead Earth's first attack against the Arcturian Empire. Good morning, she said. Today we begin Operation Homecoming. Each of you knows your mission. Some will rescue children, others will attack military targets. All of you represent the best of humanity. She touched a control and a hologram appeared showing star systems and planets. Thanks to our friend Zrek, we have maps of Arcturian space. We know where they keep our children, we know their defenses, and we have a plan. She looked at a man in the front row. Captain Alan Brooks, please brief the team on your mission. Alan stood up. At 45, he had once been a spy before becoming a space pilot. His face was serious as he explained his team's role. My ship, the Shadowhawk, will leave 2 days ahead of the main fleet. We are smaller and faster, and our ship has special shielding that makes it hard to detect. Our job is to enter Arcturian space quietly and gather last-minute intelligence. We will also place communication relays so Earth can stay in contact with the fleet at such great distances. Alan pointed to 4 locations on the map. These are the main holding facilities where they keep human children. My team will scout these areas and report back before the main attack begins. After the meeting, Diane took Alan aside. This mission is dangerous even with the stealth technology we've developed. Are you sure about your crew? Alan nodded. Lieutenant Wade Phillips is the best weapons expert we have. Dr. Samantha Wright understands alien psychology better than anyone. And Chief Paul Garcia has modified our engines to be both faster and quieter than anything the Arcturians have seen. We're ready. Meanwhile, across the planet in a high-security lab, Lisa Johnson stared at screens filled with alien code. For weeks, she had been studying the communication patterns of the Arcturian Empire, looking for weaknesses. Next to her sat Keith Young, typing rapidly as they tested a new idea. "Look at this," Lisa said suddenly. Their entire system connects to a central hub. Every ship, every base, every facility. They all receive instructions from one place. Keith leaned closer. "Can we use that?" Lisa smiled for the first time in days. "Yes. If we can get a virus into their system, we could shut down their defenses long enough for our ships to move in." She called Admiral Russell immediately. 2 days later, the Shadowhawk left Earth's orbit. On board, Alan's team made final preparations. Wade checked weapon systems, Samantha studied Arcturian psychological profiles, and Paul monitored the experimental engine that would take them deeper into space than any humans had gone before. "How long until we reach Arcturian space?" Alan asked. Paul looked up from his controls. 36 hours if we push the engines to maximum." Alan nodded. "Do it. Every day we wait, more children suffer." Back on Earth, Zrek met with scientists and military leaders, sharing everything he knew about his former masters. The reptilian alien had gained the trust of most humans he worked with, though some still watched him with suspicion. "The Arcturians believe you are primitive," Zrek explained to General Susan Harris. "They think your technology is too simple to threaten them. This is your advantage." "And their emperor?" Susan asked. "What can you tell us about Vexthor?" Zrek's yellow eyes narrowed. "He has ruled for 200 years. He sees other species as resources to be used. Human children fascinate him because they learn quickly and adapt to new environments. He will not give them up easily." Susan's face hardened. "Neither will we." In space, the Shadowhawk entered Arcturian territory. The ship's stealth systems worked perfectly, allowing them to slip past border patrols undetected. As they approached the first holding facility on a small moon, Alan ordered all systems to minimum power. "Scan for life signs," he told Wade. "I'm detecting approximately 300 human signatures," Wade replied after a moment. "Mixed with other species, probably guards." Samantha looked at the readings and frowned. "The children are being kept in underground chambers. Security looks heavy." Alan studied the layout. "We need more information. I'm going down there." Despite objections from his crew, Alan led a small team to the surface using personal stealth suits. They moved silently through the alien compound until they reached a viewing area overlooking a large room below. What Alan saw made his blood run cold. Dozens of human children, some as young as 5, worked at assembly stations. They wore metal collars and moved like robots, their faces empty of emotion. Alien guards walked among them, occasionally using pain devices on children who slowed down. Alan had to fight the urge to attack the guards immediately, but he knew that would doom the larger mission. Instead, he recorded everything and gathered data on the facility's defenses. When they returned to the ship, Alan sent the information to Earth. "We have confirmed the presence of human children at Location 1, he reported. "Security is heavy but manageable. Requesting permission to proceed to Location 2. Admiral Russell's reply came within minutes. "Proceed as planned. Main fleet departure in 24 hours. As the Shadowhawk continued its mission, Lisa and Keith on Earth finalized their virus. They had created a program that could temporarily disable Arcturian defense systems, giving Earth's ships a crucial advantage. "It will only work for about 20 minutes, Lisa explained to Admiral Russell. "After that, their systems will adapt." 20 minutes might be enough, Russell replied. if we coordinate all our attacks to happen simultaneously. The next day, Earth launched its fleet, 20 ships, each carrying soldiers, rescue teams, and advanced weapons, built with Zrek's help. As they accelerated beyond the moon, Admiral Russell addressed all crews from the bridge of her flagship, the Defiance. For too long, an alien empire has stolen our children, thinking we would never know or never be able to fight back. Today, we prove them wrong. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity protects its own. No matter the distance, no matter the enemy. We are coming for our children, and nothing will stop us. Throughout the fleet, crews cheered. Humanity was going to war, among the stars. Not for territory or resources, but for the most important reason of all, to bring their children home. Admiral Diane Russell stood on the bridge of the Defiance as her ship led Earth's fleet into Arcturian space. The journey had taken 8 days, pushing their new engines to limits never tested before. Now they faced their first real test. Official, contact with the empire that had stolen thousands of human children. "We've reached the border marker," announced her navigation officer. Diane nodded. "Open a channel on all frequencies. Use the translation matrix Zrek provided." Screens flickered on the bridge as Diane straightened her uniform. This would be humanity's first official communication with the Arcturian Empire. History would remember her words. "This is Admiral Diane Russell of Earth. I speak for all nations of our world. We have discovered your theft of our children, and we demand their immediate return. We also demand payment for the harm you have caused. You have 1 hour to respond before we take action." For several minutes there was no reply. Then a face appeared on the main screen. The alien had dark blue scales and yellow eyes with vertical slits. Gold jewelry decorated his head crest. "I am Imperial Commander Drazakor. Your presence in our space is illegal. Your demands are meaningless. Lesser species have no standing to make claims against the Arcturian Empire. Leave immediately or be destroyed." Diane's face showed no emotion, though inside she felt a mix of rage and determination. "We will not leave without our children. This is your final warning." Drazakor laughed, a hissing sound that made several bridge officers flinch. "Warning? You warn us? Your primitive ships are no match for Imperial power. But since you insist on this foolishness, I will give you a demonstration." The screen went dark. Moments later, alarms sounded throughout the ship. 5 Arcturian warships approaching, called out Lieutenant Shaw. "They're charging weapons." "Battle stations," Diane ordered calmly. "Deploy defense pattern Alpha. All ships, prepare to engage." The Arcturian ships fired first, energy beams cutting through space toward the Earth fleet. But thanks to Zrek's information, Earth ships were ready. Their shields, modified using alien technology, absorbed most of the impact. "Return fire," Diane commanded. "Target their propulsion systems." Earth ships fired weapons that combined human missile technology with energy-focusing techniques learned from Zrek. The Arcturians clearly didn't expect such advanced attacks. 2 of their ships took direct hits, spinning out of control. "They're regrouping," reported Wade Phillips from the weapons station. 3 more ships joining them. Diane pressed a button on her chair. "This is Admiral Russell to all ships. Execute tactic Thunderstorm." The Earth fleet suddenly split into smaller groups attacking from multiple angles. The Arcturians struggled to track them all. Meanwhile, on the far side of the battle, the Shadowhawk slipped past the fighting, invisible to Arcturian sensors. On board the Shadowhawk, Captain Alan Brooks watched the battle from a distance. "Looks like our fleet is holding its own," he said to his team. "That means we proceed with our mission. Set course for Arcturus 4. The stealth ship accelerated toward the moon where they had confirmed the presence of human children. Their mission was critical: rescue as many children as possible and gather intelligence from the facility. "ETA 20 minutes, reported Paul. Garcia from the pilot's seat. Alan nodded and turned to his team. "Once we land, we have a small window to act. Wade and I will secure the entrance. Samantha will guide us to the children. Paul will prepare the ship for a quick exit. Any questions?" There were none. Each member of the team had trained for this moment for months. They knew what was at stake. Back at the battle, the Earth fleet was surprising the Arcturians with their tactics. The alien ships were more advanced, but they fought with arrogance, underestimating the humans. 3 Arcturian vessels had been disabled, while Earth had lost only 1 ship. On the bridge of the Defiance, Diane received a message from Earth. "Admiral, this is Lisa Johnson. We're ready to deploy the virus. Give us the word." Diane checked the battle status. "Do it now." On Earth, Lisa and Keith activated their program. It traveled through the communication network they had set up, targeting the Arcturian central system. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then alarms began to sound on the Defiance. "Admiral, Arcturian ships are losing power," called out Lieutenant Shaw. "Their weapons are going offline." Diane allowed herself a small smile. "All ships, full attack. Target their key systems but avoid destruction if possible. We want their ships disabled, not destroyed." As the Earth fleet pressed their advantage, the Shadowhawk landed on Arcturus IV, hidden behind a ridge near the slave facility. Alan's team moved quickly, using personal stealth suits to approach the building. "Guards at the main entrance," Wade whispered, peering through a scanner. 4 of them. Alan checked his weapon. "We use the stun setting. No lethal force unless absolutely necessary." They moved silently, taking out the guards with well-placed stun shots. Inside, they followed Samantha's directions through dark corridors until they reached a security door. "The children are beyond this point," Samantha said, working to override the lock. "According to the scans, there are about 50 in this section." The door slid open, revealing a large room filled with small beds. Children lay sleeping, each with a metal collar around their neck. They ranged in age from about 6 to 15, all thin and pale. "They're sedated for the night cycle," Samantha explained, checking one child's vital signs. "We need to remove these collars. They monitor the children and can deliver shocks." Alan felt sick looking at the rows of captive children. "How long will it take?" "With our tools, about 2 minutes per child," Samantha replied. "We can't take them all." It was the hardest decision Alan had ever faced. "We'll take 12. The youngest ones first." As they worked to free the children, one boy woke up. He had brown hair and appeared about 14. His eyes widened at the sight of adults who looked like him. "Are you from Earth?" he asked in a hoarse whisper. Alan knelt beside him. "Yes. We've come to take you home. What's your name?" "Ryan," the boy said. "Ryan Porter. I was taken 6 years ago from Idaho. Well, Ryan, we're getting you out of here. Can you help us with the others?" Ryan nodded and immediately began assisting, showing them how to remove the collars more efficiently. "There are more children in other sections," he told them. "Hundreds more." "We know," Alan said grimly. "This is just the first rescue. We'll come back for everyone." Meanwhile, in space, Earth's fleet had gained the upper hand. The virus had disabled Arcturian defenses for 18 crucial minutes, longer than expected. During that time, Earth ships had disabled 7 enemy vessels and forced 3 others to retreat. Admiral Russell received a transmission from Captain Brooks. "Package secured. 12 children rescued, including one who's been helping us understand the facility. We're heading to the extraction point." Diane felt a mix of joy and sorrow. Joy for the 12, sorrow for the thousands still captive. But this was only the beginning. "Well done, Captain," she replied. "We've established our foothold here. Phase 1 complete." As the Shadowhawk lifted off from Arcturus IV with its precious cargo, and the Earth fleet secured their position against a surprised Arcturian force, humanity had made its first real strike against the Empire. They had rescued some of their children and proved they could fight back. But the real war was just beginning. The Arcturian Empire was vast, with thousands of ships and hundreds of worlds, and somewhere in that vastness, thousands more human children waited for rescue. On the bridge of the Defiance, Admiral Russell looked out at the stars. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. "First battle won. 157 children secured from nearby facilities. Request reinforcements for Phase 2. The message went out, traveling faster than light back to a waiting planet. Earth had won its first battle among the stars. It would not be the last. News of Earth's victory spread quickly through the stars. Other species who lived under Arcturian rule began to watch with interest. No one had ever successfully fought back against the Empire before. On the planet Vexthorium, Grand Sovereign, Vexthor raged at his military commanders. The tall blue-scaled ruler smashed a crystal display showing the battle reports. "How could primitive humans defeat our ships?" he hissed. "They were supposed to have no space combat experience." Commander Drazkor bowed low, his crest flat against his head in submission. "They had unexpected technology, Your Greatness, and their tactics were unusual. They fought with extreme aggression." Vexthor's yellow eyes narrowed. "They fight for their young. Many species become dangerous when their offspring are threatened." He paced across the throne room. "Gather our Eastern Fleet. We will teach these humans a lesson they will never forget. Prepare an attack on their homeworld." Back on Earth, the first rescued children arrived to tearful reunions with their families. Ryan Porter, the 14-year-old boy who had helped Captain Brooks during the rescue, stepped off the transport ship and blinked in the sunlight. After 6 years in captivity, being back on Earth felt strange. A woman rushed forward from the waiting crowd. "Ryan, is it really you?" Ryan stared at her. His mother looked older, with gray in her hair that hadn't been there before. But her eyes were the same. "Mom," he whispered. And then they were hugging, both crying. Similar scenes played out as other families reunited. Some parents collapsed in joy. Others stood in shock, seeing how their children had changed during their years in captivity. In Dyke, a military hospital nearby, doctors examined the rescued children. Dr. Olivia Martinez checked Ryan's medical scans and frowned. "The collar left scars on your neck," she said gently. "And there are signs of neural tampering. The Arcturians tried to condition you to obey them." Ryan nodded. "They did that to all of us. The younger kids were easier to control. Some of the older ones resisted, so they got worse treatment." Olivia made notes on her tablet. "You seem to have fought the conditioning successfully." "I never forgot Earth," Ryan said simply. "I never forgot who I was." His information proved invaluable. Ryan described the layout of other facilities, the routines of the guards, and most importantly, how the control collars worked. This knowledge would help in planning future rescues. Meanwhile, Admiral Russell and her fleet established a base in Arcturian territory. They converted a captured space station into their forward command post. Earth ships came and went, bringing supplies and fresh troops. On the third day after the battle, 3 unknown vessels appeared near the station. Everyone prepared for another fight, but the ships sent a peaceful signal. "This is Ambassador Thala of the Centauri Confederation," came a voice over the communication system. "We wish to speak with the Earth leaders." Admiral Russell met the visitors in a conference room. The Centauri looked nothing like the Arcturians. They were tall and slender with 4 arms and smooth, pale skin that shimmered with a faint blue glow. "We have watched your battle with interest," Ambassador Thala said. Her voice was musical, almost like singing. "For centuries, the Arcturian Empire has dominated this region of space. No one has successfully challenged them until now." "We didn't come looking for a war," Diane explained. "We came for our children," Thala nodded. "Your motivation makes you formidable. We have been in a cold war with the Arcturians for 300 years. We propose an alliance." "What would this alliance involve?" Diane asked cautiously. "We offer advanced technology, star charts of the entire empire, and military support," Thala replied. "In return, we ask for your help in freeing other worlds from Arcturian control." It was an unexpected opportunity. Diane knew Earth couldn't defeat the entire empire alone. "I need to consult with my government, but I believe we can work together." Thala smiled. "There is something else you should know. Our spies report that the Arcturians are moving human children deeper into their territory. They know you've come for them, and they're using the children as shields and hostages. Diane's face hardened. Then we need to move quickly. Back on Earth, Lisa Johnson and her team worked to improve their virus. The first version had worked better than expected, but the Arcturians would adapt their systems. We need to make it more targeted, she told Keith Young as they studied the alien code. Instead of shutting down everything at once, we could disable specific systems when needed. Keith nodded. Like taking out weapons but leaving life support untouched. Exactly. That would make rescue operations safer for the children. Their work was interrupted by a priority alert. Earth's long-range sensors had detected a large Arcturian fleet heading toward the solar system. In Geneva, the World Security Council met to address this new threat. General Susan Harris stood before the representatives of Earth's nations. The Arcturians are sending a punitive expedition, she announced. They intend to attack Earth directly as revenge for our rescue mission. The room buzzed with concerned voices. Susan raised her hand for silence. Admiral Russell has formed an alliance with another galactic power, the Centauri Confederation. They're providing us with technology and intelligence. And Captain Brooks has volunteered for a critical mission. On a screen, Captain Alan Brooks appeared, standing on the bridge of a new ship. The Centauri have helped us upgrade the Shadowhawk, he explained. We're heading to the Arcturian capital world on a special operation. Our goal is to extract data on the exact locations of all human captives. Back in space, Admiral Russell prepared to face the approaching Arcturian fleet. Her forces were outnumbered, but Earth ships had been upgraded with Centauri technology, and she had a plan. We'll meet them at the asteroid belt, she told her captains. Use the rocks for cover and hit-and-run tactics. We don't need to destroy them all. Just slow them down until Brooks completes his mission. As preparations continued, Ryan Porter asked to speak with military leaders. Despite being only 14, he had spent 6 years observing the Arcturians. He knew things about them that even Zrek didn't. They have a weakness, he explained, pointing to a model of an Arcturian ship. Their ships get power from a central core. If you can overload it, the whole ship shuts down. This information led to a new weapon design that could target this vulnerability. The day before the expected battle, Commander Nicole Bennett tested the experimental fighter called Valkyrie. The small, fast ship incorporated both human and Centauri technology. This is incredible, she told the engineers after the test flight. It's 3 times faster than anything we had 6 months ago. As Earth prepared for the coming battle, Captain Brooks and his team approached the Arcturian capital world. Their mission was the most dangerous yet. Infiltrate the center of the Empire and steal the information needed to save all the human children. We'll reach Vexthorium in 6 hours, Paul Garcia reported from the pilot's chair. Alan looked at his team. Wade, Samantha, and Paul had been with him from the beginning. Now they were joined by 2 Centauri specialists and Ryan Porter, who had insisted on coming. Once we land, we'll have 24 hours to complete the mission, Alan told them. The future of every captured child depends on us. As both sides prepared for battle, the fate of humanity hung in the balance. The Arcturians had power in numbers. Earth had determination and new allies, and neither side was willing to back down. The time had come for the final push. Earth and its Centauri allies launched Operation Homecoming Prime, the largest space battle humans had ever fought. Admiral Diane Russell divided the fleet into 12 battle groups, each assigned to attack specific targets throughout Arcturian space. Today we free all our children, she told the gathered captains. Every facility holding human children will be hit simultaneously. The Arcturians won't be able to defend them all. On Earth, Lisa Johnson and her team prepared to deploy their enhanced virus. The improved version could target specific Arcturian systems at precisely timed intervals. We'll create windows of opportunity for each attack group, Lisa explained to General Susan Harris. First, we disable their defense shields, then their weapons, then their communications. Each group will have 15 minutes to complete their mission. Susan nodded. The fate of thousands of children depends on your timing. We won't let them down, Lisa promised. Far away on the Arcturian capital world of Vexthorium, Captain Alan Brooks and his team had spent 3 days gathering Intelligence. Disguised with technology provided by the Centauri, they moved through the Imperial City undetected. "I've identified the central data repository," Wade Phillips said, showing Alan a map on his device. "It's heavily guarded, but I found a weakness in their security patterns." "Good work," Alan replied. "What about the Resistance contact?" Samantha Wright stepped forward. "I've made contact with the underground network. Many species enslaved by the Arcturians have been secretly working against them for years. They're eager to help us." The next morning, Alan met with a Resistance leader named Krell, a four-armed being from a world long conquered by the Empire. "My people will create a distraction at the main power station," Krell explained. "This should draw guards away from the data repository." Alan nodded. "We'll have a short window to get in and out with the information." "There is something else you should know," Krell added, his voice dropping lower. "We've heard rumors about special research facilities where the Arcturians conduct experiments on human children. They are trying to create hybrid soldiers combining human adaptability with Arcturian strength." Alan's blood ran cold. "Where is this facility?" "On Vexthor's moon. It is called Project Evolution." Alan sent this information immediately to Admiral Russell. Her reply came quickly. "Complete your current mission. If successful, we'll add the research facility to our attack targets." Back in space, the battle had begun. Earth and Centauri ships engaged Arcturian forces across multiple star systems. Lisa's virus worked perfectly, creating chaos in the Imperial defense network. As shields failed and weapons went offline, Earth ships moved in to attack. Commander Nicole Bennett led the third battle group in the experimental fighter Valkyrie. Her target was the Imperial flagship, commanded by Drazkor himself. "Target their propulsion systems," she ordered her squadron. "Remember, disable, don't destroy. We want to capture that ship." The Valkyrie moved with incredible speed, dodging enemy fire and delivering precise strikes. The Imperial flagship's engines flared and died as Nicole's attack struck home. "Direct hit," her weapons officer called out. "Their main drives are offline." Nicole allowed herself a brief smile. "All ships, move in. Prepare boarding teams." On Vexthorium, Alan's team made their move during the Resistance distraction. Wade disabled the security systems, and they entered the data repository, a vast room filled with glowing crystal columns. "These store all their information," Samantha explained, working quickly at a control panel, "including the locations of every human captive." As she downloaded the data, Ryan Porter stood guard, his young face serious. After 6 years in captivity, he was now helping free others who had suffered the same fate. "I've got it," Samantha said finally. "Complete records of 8,457 human children throughout the Empire, and something else. Confirmation of the hybrid program. They've been combining human and Arcturian DNA." Alarms began to sound throughout the building. "Time to go," Alan ordered. Mission accomplished. As they escaped through underground tunnels, with help from the Resistance, Alan sent the data to Earth and the fleet. Now they knew exactly where every child was being held. Admiral Russell quickly reorganized her forces to target the newly identified locations. She also assigned Captain Brooks a new mission: investigate the research facility on Vexthor's moon, rescue any children there, and gather evidence of these experiments. On his throne world, Grand Sovereign Vexthor received increasingly bad reports. Human and Centauri forces were freeing slave facilities across his empire. His ships were being disabled or captured, and now there were uprisings on 12 worlds. "This cannot continue," he raged. "Bring all remaining human children to the palace. We will use them as hostages. The humans will not attack if it means harming their young." But his orders came too late. Earth forces were already freeing children faster than they could be moved, and Captain Brooks was leading an assault on the secret research facility. What? Brooks found there horrified even his battle-hardened team. Hundreds of children were kept in special chambers, many of them showing signs of genetic modification. Some had patches of scales like Arcturians. Others had yellow slitted eyes or altered limbs. "This is monstrous," Samantha whispered, examining the medical records. They've been doing this for years. As they worked to free the children, Alan found a familiar name on one of the chamber controls. Emma Collins. He opened the chamber to find a girl about 12 years old. She looked mostly human, except for faint blue scales along her arms. Her file showed she was the daughter of Major Frank Collins, the officer who had first discovered the Arcturian abductions. Emma? I'm Captain Alan Brooks. I'm here to take you home. The girl looked at him with eyes that were human but held a hint of yellow. Home? Is that Earth? Yes, Alan said gently. Your father has been looking for you for 8 years. As they evacuated the children, news arrived that changed everything. Grand Sovereign Vexthor had offered to negotiate. The combined human Centauri forces had dealt such damage to the Empire that he wanted to end the fighting. Admiral Russell agreed to meet him, but she came prepared. When Vexthor tried to bargain, offering to return some children while keeping others, Diane played recordings of the experiments on human children for all to see. The broadcast went out on all Arcturian channels, reaching every world in the Empire. Citizens who had been told they were a superior civilization bringing order to lesser species now saw the truth. Their leaders had been torturing children. The effect was immediate. Several Arcturian worlds declared independence. Military units refused orders. And in a final desperate move, Vexthor threatened to execute all remaining human captives unless Earth's forces withdrew. In response, Captain Brooks led one final mission, an attack on the Imperial Palace itself. But when they fought their way to the throne room, they found Vexthor already in chains, captured by his own royal guard. The Empire is finished, the guard captain told Brooks. No honorable Arcturian could continue serving after learning what was done to children. 3 weeks later, representatives from Earth, the former Arcturian worlds, and the Centauri Confederation signed the Solar Accords. The agreement established Earth as a recognized power in the galaxy and guaranteed the return of all human captives. A warm summer day in Geneva, Ryan Porter stood with Dr. Olivia Martinez as the last transport of liberated children landed. Among them was a small girl born in captivity who had never seen Earth before. As she stepped onto the ground, she looked up at the blue sky in wonder. "Is this really home?" she asked. Ryan knelt beside her. "Yes," he said, "and no one will ever take you from it again." In the years that followed, Earth established its first embassy on the former Arcturian capital, now the center of a new galactic federation. The building bore a simple inscription that summed up humanity's first steps into the wider galaxy. We protect our own. We remember. We forgive. We never forget.